Welcome back, everyone. In the first three parts, we talked about some tips for networking, how you can grow your network, give you some insight into traditional marketing versus networking. And so we're going to spend the rest of our time, we're going to do a deep dive on my favorite three growth strategies. And the reality is, everything we do at Clientology somehow comes back to one of these three strategies. So we always look to find ways to increase referrals. Workshops are a magical way to, first of all, find out what our clients want, but second of all, to serve them and add value. And then the most important tool we have once we figured out referrals, once we figured out workshops, is the key strategic partner plan and our key strategic partners. So referrals are truly the fastest way to add your best clients in bulk. Workshops, we've recognized that your current best client already knows your next best client. And when we add the key strategic partners, which is advanced relationship strategies for growth, we can really accelerate cloning our best clients. So I'm going to share a concept called Occam's razor. And the simple, this is a theorem that the simplest of competing theories should be preferred to the more complex. And so I want to ask you, what is the simplest approach to getting more clients? And I want you to ponder, is it marketing or referrals? And whatever you believe to be true is, in fact, what your brain will find evidence of. Therefore, whichever you believe, you're right. I personally believe that referrals are the single fastest, best way to grow a business. And I would argue if you already have existing clients who love you, that is the path forward for most businesses. It's hard to get others, new clients who love you through marketing. So, one of the things we talk about the gold in your backyard, and I apologize, the analogy is going to change a little, but we're going to talk first about where to mine, and then I'm going to talk about how to mine. So we talk about three core areas. So there's clients, contacts, and community. And most people, they're advertising, they're going out to the community at large, they're not focused. Um, we tend to not spend any time or effort advertising to our existing clients because we think, well, they don't need anything, they've already got us. And most businesses, I get a lot of pushback. They don't want to put the effort in. I've heard it over and over again. What if I put the effort into building key strategic partners and I don't get anything out of it? So we're going to talk about those three, but the intersection of clients, contacts, and community is where you want to mine, right in the center of that triangle. So under clients, we want to identify our favorite clients. These are our best clients. We'll define that in a bit. We want to identify what they have in common. And really, truly, what do you like most about them? And how can you add value to them? So, this is about figuring out what their pain points are and how we can help them. Now, under contacts, we focus on the key strategic partner plan. And the question is simple: who else serves your perfect prospects? We're going to add value to them. And we're going to reach out and say something very similar to, I like you, let's be friends. And this is a recurring theme. We're going to ask ourselves, how can we add value to our key strategic partners? Now, under community, I want you to think about really simple day-to-day activities. And I want you to ask yourself, who do I hang out with? What am I passionate about? What do I love to do? And the reality is, if you're really, really passionate about something, maybe it's dogs, cats, horses, theater, music. If you're passionate about something, you're going to be really authentic and you're going to be able to find ways to add value to people who are in your community. And this is actually interesting because I ask people, one of my favorite networking questions is, what groups do you belong to? And a lot of people underestimate the groups they're part of. Little things, the ones that get missed, professional associations might be obvious, but people tend to forget alumni associations. Maybe they're a supporter for university or college. They forget religious organizations, their church. But practice asking myself, is this a group I'm part of? And do I care about this group? Now, we'll get into more detail on that. Literally, that's the heart of this presentation. This section, we're going to talk about how to mine. And it's really, really simple. And I promise you, if you're not willing to do the work, stop now because you're going to waste a lot of time and energy and money. Under the planning stage, we need to be crystal clear. Do not spend a dime on any type of marketing. Do not do any networking. Don't try to get referrals if you can't answer two questions. The most important questions, in my experience as a coach with businesses, number one is who do we serve? And number two, what problems do we solve for them? And we want to be clear, the problems that we solve that people get excited about don't just make their life easier, they add transformation. So the third question is how do we transform their lives? And once you do that, you need to be clear on why you do what you do, because people care about your why more than they care about what or how. I credit this to Simon Sinek, his golden circles analogy. But the reality is, people will be more passionate. You're going to get raving fans if they also believe in your why. And the last thing, we're not going to have time to cover this in this particular workshop. We do have another workshop on it, but we want to know what our signature system is, because this is how we're going to stand out. This is going to be what makes us unique. Rather than saying I do ABC, we're going to have our own signature system. We create a category of one. Now, once we've done the planning, and skip the planning at your own peril. I can't stress this enough. Everybody comes to me and they're like, but I want to get to the client part. I want to get to the networking part. Do not leave your house. Do not do anything until you've figured out who you serve and what problems do you solve for them. And by the way, one of the things I've observed is people think that the thing they sell is the problem they solve, or they think it's the thing that other people buy. So, for example, bookkeepers think they sell bookkeeping, accountants think they sell accounting, lawyers think they sell legal advice, a shoe store thinks they sell shoes. The reality is, there's a status decision being made at the time of purchase. Um, in case of a professional service, they're looking for peace of mind. You're going to give them peace of mind. So focus on the outcome that they want, not the thing you sell. And we talked about in the Platinum Rule how that applies. So once you've planned, the next phase is to execute. And we'll get into the details of workshops, but the first thing is, if you have existing clients or existing contacts, the first thing you need to do is plan and host a workshop. The next thing, create an educational newsletter. And the mistake most people make is trying to do it themselves. Get your key strategic partners involved because they can each contribute content, and then you create something that's easily spread across your client base. And they can share it with their network. Now, under execution, I talk about solving problems. Here's the secret. If you solve a big problem for a small company, they'll pay you a small fee. If you solve a big problem for a large company, they'll pay you a large fee. But the beautiful thing is, if you can solve a small problem for a big company, they'll still pay you a large fee. The size of the problem you solve relative to the business you serve will determine how much money you make. So if you're solving small problems for small companies, you're going to be in for a lifetime of poverty. And I don't mean that as a judgmental thing. It's just no matter what you do, all you can figure out is how to do more, how to serve more. So we talk about how to serve better. So we challenge our clients, everyone in our network to find bigger problems to solve. It has bigger rewards. And by the way, it's not just monetary rewards. You're getting into impact, your freedom, your sense of worth. Um, Big problems can be fun. A lot of people are afraid of them, so they don't even try. And then when you're going to host a workshop, you need to craft a compelling offer. That is a conversation for another workshop. We can't possibly cover everything today, but I want you to think about not what you want to sell, but what would your ideal perfect prospect or dream client want to buy? And it's a nuance, but it's an important one because you're thinking in your head, how do I sell something? Your questions are going to be wrong. Your language is going to be wrong. Think about how can I serve this person to my fullest ability? And by the way, this applies to products, it applies to pretty much any service I can think of. Um, there is an instruction manual that you can put in, if you think about companies that do this really well, think Disney, think Lego, they put a lot of care into the customer experience. I would challenge you to do the same. And I would go a step further and say, if your customer isn't worth caring about, either you need to be in a different business or you need a different customer. And then the third part of mining is we want to optimize. And what we're doing is we want to get feedback. Are we solving the right problems? Are we solving them at the right time? Are they big enough? Everything you do with your workshop should be consistently repeatable. So you want to test and measure, how do you invite people? How do you grow your audience? How do you promote it? What content do you offer? How do you offer the content? What's your follow up? And as you're going, create systems for everything. So have um, a system for launching a virtual workshop, have a system for launching a local workshop, have a system for collaborative workshops, and above all, have a system for following up. Somebody came to you, they raised their hand, they said, I'm interested in this topic. How do you help them beyond the workshop? And by the way, a lot of people are nervous about quote unquote selling at workshops. We don't sell, we invite. We share with people, here's what we're doing. If you'd like to learn more, here's how. Now, earlier on, I promised we talk about the hidden costs of paid advertising. And I'm going to just share a little story and then I'll give you an example. But if your ads are unfocused or indiscriminate, you're going to get all kinds of random clients to the point you're also going to get some undesirable ones. Now, the interesting thing is, if you get the wrong clients, that can cause staff frustration. Your staff are dealing with issues, they're fighting fires, they're dealing with complaints. Frustration causes staff turnover. So you're going to have more customer complaints, you're going to have more support tickets, you're going to have frustration, and then you're going to have to pay to replace staff. So staff turnover causes stress for the staff that stay, which causes more turnover. It also causes stress for you. And the end result is you work harder to earn less. And there was a very large marketing company that had this brilliant strategy. They sold discounts to local businesses. So, as a consumer, I could buy a discounted service from a local business. It actually put a lot of them out of business because they couldn't afford to serve the fee sensitive clients that came to them who bought this smoking hot deal online. The irony is the businesses thought, well, if I let them get a taste of what I do, um, they'll come back and they'll be a customer for life. In a lot of cases, it actually hurt the company because these fee sensitive people who realized they could buy a discount never ever graduated to paying full price. So I'm going to share a real life example of how a changing client base can cause problems. I won't name names, I won't even name the industry, but it was a professional service firm that served large clients, and their typical fee was $50,000 a year. So you would expect they had very senior staff and high salaries that go with those staff. Historically, they had grown at a rate of $1 million in new revenue per year, which wasn't hard to manage because they were adding about 20 new clients a year. Now they got to the point where they thought, well, somebody, I don't know, it was somebody's niece, nephew, daughter, son, whatever it was, came along and said, why are we paying a senior business development person 200,000 a year? Literally 20% of our growth is going to this person's salary. So they fired that person and they hired two junior social media experts. And I put that in quotes because these two young ladies they hired were early 20s. I don't know about you, but I don't think I was an expert at anything in my 20s. And they were paying them 50,000 a year each. So they were excited because their salary, they saved 100 grand, which is, 10% of their growth. Now, the two social media experts, they had a lot of leeway. Nobody knew what they did, so they were just turned loose on the world. And they were told, as long as you get 1 million in new revenue, we'll pay you your bonus and you'll get a raise. So they started their social media, and I won't name the platform, I don't want to get sued. But they started paying for ads on a platform. And what they found was that 50,000 a year clients weren't using that particular platform to buy their professional services. All right. Sorry about that. I had a little interruption here. So, as I was saying, they hired these two junior social media experts. They found it really easy to acquire $2,000 a year clients on social media advertising. I won't name the platform. But at the end of the year, they got their bonuses because they added $1 million in new revenue. And just to compare, we're looking at about 500 new clients. Now, you can go from being a boutique to being a low cost provider. It's going to be painful. And that's what they found because they just weren't set up to deal with the volume of 500 new clients. Obviously, their average revenue per client declined. They saw it, but they didn't know what it meant to their business. And what they found was that their overhead and admin costs literally skyrocketed, and their staff didn't know how to differentiate between a $2,000 a year client and a $50,000 a year client. So the low end clients got amazing service. And the staff were doing a lot of low level admin tasks. So you had really senior people doing really junior tasks. And ironically, they got so busy, they got so overwhelmed, some of the staff left. But more importantly, the large clients started leaving literally in droves because the service levels vanished. If you're somebody who's used to having 20 clients calling you and all of a sudden you've got 500, life gets rough real fast. At the end of the day, the problem clients caused a lot of problems. They complained more, they didn't refer people, they expected more service, they had more demands, and it almost bankrupted the firm. And the solution was they had to fire the social media experts and they had to bite their tongue, eat some crow, and bring back their senior business development person. Now, I don't share that to scare you. I just want you to know if you don't know who you serve, it's really easy to take your business in a direction you hadn't anticipated. So, again, people say, oh, all customers are created equal, all clients are the same. I would bring up the analogy of a car, and you want to ask yourself, again, there's no judgment. One is not infinitely better than the other in all circumstances, but in the right circumstances, there is a difference. So, for example, if you're teaching a teenager how to drive, you might want to put them in this beater up at the top left. If you're a family person and you're looking at more luxury, you might want one of these two on the right. Obviously, if you're a race car driver, you need a Formula One car. And if cargo is a big thing, you like the outdoors, you like pulling trailers and campers, the best vehicle for you is probably a truck. So the reality is there's no judgment on any of these vehicles, like there's no judgment on the clients. It's just you need the right vehicle to suit your lifestyle. So if you are choosing the wrong clients indiscriminately, you're going to naturally, it will pull you down to the lowest common denominator. So we're going to talk about referrals, and we call it the gold in the backyard model. And literally, referrals are the fastest way to add value and grow your best clients in bulk. It's literally cloning your best clients. Now, the key to referrals is it has to be done right. We can't cover every nuance of referrals in this session, but we'll give you a way to rank clients. We'll help you think about solving big problems and ultimately earning introductions. So the first thing is, how do you rank clients? And this is probably where most people, again, they feel, oh, I have to take everybody, or all clients are the same, or all clients are equal. I disagree completely. And the best way to grow your business is to clone your best clients. So we need to first of all figure out what our criteria is. Then we need to know who our best clients are. And then we need to nurture them. So this is not a complete list, but ask yourself, and this is where you need to sit back, take some time, and brainstorm what criteria are important to you. And some of the ones I hear a lot are profitability. You know, they have to be profitable. Sometimes you want clients that respect you. Maybe you have an industry that you really like or you know you can serve. I would say that any business out there can do better if they focus on an industry niche. Sometimes you want to judge your clients based on what services they need from you or products. I personally like to judge based on attitude. Business size has a huge impact. As we talked about earlier, if you're solving problems big or small for a solopreneur, your fees are going to be big or small. If you solve a small problem for a big company, you'll get big fees. If you solve a big problem for a big company, you'll get massive fees. I also look at the energy. Do they drain me or do they give me energy? And are they a business I can impact? So take the time and think about what criteria are most important to you, and then go back to your client base. We do something called a client portfolio audit. Go back to your client base and evaluate to see which of your clients meet your criteria. So in this example, we had we had 8 criteria. Our best clients would have, say, 7 or more of those. And best is defined as of the most excellent, effective, or desirable type or quality. We've redefined best to be they're beloved. We love working with them. They're effortless. They don't drive us crazy. They help us help them. We want people who are sincere. They're willing to work with us and be sincere with us. And I like people who are thankful. We want them to have gratitude. We want them to appreciate us. And that's what makes the best client in my world. Now, this is a slide makes people laugh, but this is sincerely how do each of these clients. So once you've ranked them based on your objective criteria, your subjective, um, we want to look at how they make you feel. And we're going to keep it simple. We got a 3-point scale. They either make us happy, we feel neutral about them, or they make us feel like the poop emoji. So again, bonus points if you can use a poop emoji in a professional slide deck. This should be fun. So take a minute, giggle at the poop emoji. But honestly, if a client makes you feel like poop, why the hell would you want to work with them? Even if they're your best paying client, you got to ask yourself, is that piece of soul you're giving up every time you serve them worth the money you're getting? And by the way, if you feel like you're giving up your soul to serve somebody, that is going to hold your business back no matter what you do. So we talk about nurturing our best clients, and we'll talk about our Stay in Touch program at near the end of this presentation. But here's the thing, you need to remember the fastest way to grow a business, any business, is to clone your best clients. The fastest way to clone them is to nurture them. And I say this sincerely, if you don't know who your best clients are or what they care about, you are burning money. You're not just leaving it on the table, you're burning it. So your best clients, and by the way, they should be worth nurturing. If they're not, they're probably not your best clients. So one of the things we teach is to have nurture calls to your best clients. And the important thing here is this is not a call with an agenda other than to check in and say, how are you doing? So we reach out and we'll say, hey, can we talk? And the whole point of the conversation is we want to get to understand your needs and how we can help you better. Um, Depending on the industry you're in, depending on what you do, I recommend you have some sort of standard diagnostic to identify their pain, which becomes opportunities for you to nurture them. And as I've said over and over, we want to identify and solve big problems wherever possible. And the last question you should always be asking is, how can we add value? What problems would you like us to be working on? Because here's the thing, if you solve a problem for one of your best clients, odds are good another of your best clients has that same problem and would like help as well. So I've said this in many different ways, but the reality is I want you to take this as a challenge and fall in love with your dream client. Identify their problems, identify their pain, and really fall in love with them and how you can serve them. Don't be focused on your solution and how you can sell it. The irony is by focusing on the other and really caring, you will end up solving bigger problems. You'll get more money, you'll have more impact, more freedom, and your clients will be raving fans.